I think since last time that we talked, Tekashi has accepted. Well, he got sentenced to 2 years in prison.
2.
The amount of people that went down, there was like 10 people that got anywhere from 5 years to I think 17 years in prison. The newest defendant just got 17 years. This guy named Nuke. He took down that whole crew single-handedly, and walked away with it with the shortest prison sentence, 2 years with already 1 year time served, and you're gonna you can carve a little 85% off the 2. He'll be home.
He'll be home for fucking Christmas.
Will be home for Christmas, probably for summer. And it sends such an interesting message to anyone that says, look, it doesn't matter how bad the crime was. As long as you tell on everyone, you'll get a slap on the wrist.
If they're going to kill poor Pop Smoke and not hurt Tekashi when he come out, I don't want to say nothing. I'm just
saying. I mean, Zimmerman's still walking around.
Yeah, that bitch. Oh, my God.
Zimmerman is still walking.
Zimmerman trying to sue somebody. Didn't he try to sue somebody?
He tried to. I think he sued Jay-Z. He's also suing 2 of the Democratic candidates based on things they've said.
And he said he was suing somebody for idolizing Trayvon or some crazy shit like that.
And a guy that tried to kill him went to jail. Remember, there was some road rage incident.
Yeah, he's probably part of Illuminati.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because he got some protection around him. He should have been gone.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Well, Tekashi gonna get out. We're gonna see what happens.
Yeah, because I can't, in good conscience as a Christian, I can't wish harm on another person because they too have relatives and stuff like that. But snitches get stitches where I come from. And there's one thing in telling something so you can save your family or save your own ass or something like that. And it's another just giving motherfuckers up 10 deep. So we'll see.
Well, because it's interesting because I recently did 2 interviews. Okay. One of the interviews I did, and this will be out by the time this part of the interview comes out, it was the Clips' old manager, this guy named Anthony GZ Gonzalez. He was caught running like a $20 million drug operation. One of the guys, like his plug, ended up testifying against him and so forth. And he signed a immunity clause for his family because his mother was being charged, his wife was being charged because they were making payments or cashing checks or whatever. So when it comes to a RICO indictment, the $1 connected to it, you're part of it, right? So he actually cooperated in exchange for them dropping all the charges for his family.
Okay.
I got your family. What you gonna do? This is like in black and white, so it's like this or that. So it was like me go to trial, they get locked up. But in the feds, I was already got because when you got the connect telling on everything you bought from them, I was going to lose trial and I was going to get life. I was going to get life. So I'm looking at it like I take the 32 years and I can sleep good knowing that my family ain't locked up.
I interviewed this guy named Kevin Childs. He was one of the Harlem drug kingpins. And he was facing like 45 years, I think, and he was running a big drug empire as well. 22 people got hemmed up in his indictment, including his aunts and so forth, and his cousins. He actually refused to sign any sort of cooperation agreement. They ended up dropping the charges against everyone else eventually, but we had a conversation about this, about would you tell in order to save your family? Right, because at the end of the day, all that shit that you're thinking about really doesn't matter.
Yeah, but
if the feds want to paint the story a certain type of way, and if the jury wants, goes along with how the feds paint it with their 97% conviction rate, your whole family could have gone to prison. That could have been the end of the day.
I agree.
The end of it.
But for me, and most Americans, when we think about the feds, we think they are the barometer of truth.
Right.
is what you want to believe. This is what they disseminate to the public.
Right.
So for me, I needed to know what this looks like when you go to a jury, and like where the pictures, where the phone calls, where the wiretaps, where's the drug transactions. These people didn't do any of this.
Okay.
So I just couldn't wrap my hands around the concept of, and again, that was the card that they played. Okay. I just didn't go for it.
So let me ask you a question. If you could answer it honestly.
Absolutely.
If ultimately it was 100% sure that if you do not cooperate with them, your kid's mother, your aunts, your cousins are all going to prison for substantial periods of time, would you still not cooperate?
It's just not in me, Vlad.
And I remember Jeezy was saying how he's like, yeah, I look at those people, who were locked up with me who refused to cooperate and their mothers are in prison and so forth. And I was like, yeah, I don't know how they did it.
Yeah.
I don't know how they did it. And it's a very interesting conversation. Like, okay, everyone says don't snitch, don't snitch, don't snitch. But would you snitch to save your mother from getting 20 years?
Yes, I would. Yeah, I would. I'm going to go down and take some motherfuckers with me if my mom and my family, my mother, yeah.
Yeah.
I'd have to do it. But then again, these motherfuckers lie so much, there's no guarantee that you're not going to snitch and they still take your mama down.
Yeah, facts.
See, so that's where it gets tricky. Because it's not like you can just trust what the police say.
Yeah.
If we do this, we'll do this. That's the oldest trick in the fucking book.
Well, I interviewed Earthquake recently. We had our first interview, and he proudly declares himself a snitcher. He said, if they caught me, they caught us. He said he was snitch on his own mother.
Earthquake was snitch.
He said he was snitch on his own mother. He said, you've lived your life, let me live mine. You called yourself a snitcher.
Oh, yeah.
So you're definitely snitching.
Nigga, if they catch me, they caught us. That's why I don't do nothing. I can't go to jail. They rape motherfuckers.
You said you would snitch on your own mother.
You goddamn right. She got to do the time. She done lived her life. Let me live my life. Shit. Fuck it. Let's snitch on grandmama. She 80. We looking for a place to put her. Look at God. Won't he do it?
Well, you both need to look behind bars if you fucking snitch.
He said you snitch on his own grandmother.
I'm calling Quake about that.
He said, look, we're going to put her in a home anyways.
I'll get him to recant that.
No, he's going to snitch. But he also said that he realized early on that he's not going to do anything to be put in a situation where you would have to decide not to snitch or not. He purposely, he realized it early on. He went to the military and everything else like that. He realized early on that he doesn't want to do anything illegal. So he never put himself in that situation.
Well, I did, crimes and I did time and I did it alone. So I didn't have nobody to snitch on. I did my crimes alone.
So nobody, so you didn't know of anyone else that was doing, because this was at the bank, right? When you were stealing from the bank.
Right.
So there was no one else involved at all.
No.
You were doing it solo.
That's right.
Which is usually the best way to do it anyways.
Right. Everything I ever did before I got busted for that, I did solo. I don't need a crime partner. I figured out my fucking self.
Yeah. Yeah, listen, we all make mistakes.
I made mistakes. I paid my debt to society, restitution, the whole thing.
Yeah.
I'm a new woman. I wouldn't steal a nickel off the pool table these days. I might take your weed if you leave it laying around, though.